Hey everyone, did you know that Frontier Airlines has a pass right now where you can get unlimited flights for only $499? This airline pass from Frontier Airlines is known as the Go Wild Pass. Before you go and buy this pass, please consider that the Go Wild Pass from Frontier Airlines, you can only buy it the day before departure for a domestic flight, and for international flights, you can only buy it up to 10 days before departure date. Lastly, from this video, please consider my 6-month review of the Go Wild Pass I purchased last year, and I want to show you we feel like it's worth the price tag for this unlimited flights from Frontier Airlines. I bought the Go Wild Frontier Pass last year in November 2022, and it expires actually April 2024. So I basically have a 1-year pass. So as noted, you don't get free flights with Frontier Airlines when you get this pass. You still are responsible for tax and fees and all that stuff. You're just not being charged by the airline. And the most important detail, obviously, is when you book a flight, you only book it 1 day before departure for domestic, up to 10 days, I believe, for international flights. So for domestic flights, when you do book it one day before departure date, it can be as low as $15 one way. So first impressions, when I bought this pass last year, I was like, great deal, $500 for unlimited flights, Frontier Airlines. Yeah, I didn't have an issue being a remote worker. You know, there's not going to be an issue with flights, and I don't mind taking last minute flights. I thought it was a win on that direction. And also the fact that I'm not loyal to any airlines right now. So I don't have an issue with that, you know, with buying a pass like that. And also when it comes to domestic flights, I don't have a lot of value in them being their very short duration. So I felt like taking advantage based on the deal price versus, you know, I guess, you know, loyalty status or even comfort. So for airline status, it does not cater to the leisure traveler like me. It only caters to business travelers. So another reason to take a chance and try this Go Wild Pass from Frontier Airlines. If you look at the new pass, I didn't realize it from the old one, but I don't know. But there are blackout dates to consider for the Go Wild Pass. So that basically means that if you're traveling during the summer, for most of the time in holidays, those can be blacked out. You won't be able to use the pass. So that's another thing to consider before buying this Go Wild Pass from Frontier Airlines. So here's my summer and fall review, basically from May to November, and we're going to start my first flight here. So as you know, in August, I actually took a flight to Korea, and I had an easy way of getting to Korea business class. The problem was going back home. And if you saw my videos, you would see that I had an issue going from France back to the USA. And my first attempt of using the Go Wild Pass was in August. And of course, it didn't work out in the way I wanted to. When I had to fly from New York back to Atlanta, I was unable to use the Go Wild Pass to find a flight back. And in the end, I had to use a different airline such as Delta to fly back home. Being it was a Saturday night flight, it was going to be very difficult, and it was, because you had to book it the day before, which is Friday. And finding right now my first impression of the Go Wild Pass for this situation is that probably not a good idea to use the pass on a weekend date, which is really just kind of dumb. And also being the fact that it was New York, a very popular destination to fly to and from. So lessons learned there for my first try of the Go Wild Pass. Move on to the second situation. This is the first flight I booked with the Go Wild Pass actually, and that is from Atlanta to Cincinnati. Overall, the one-way flight to Cincinnati wasn't bad. $15 one way, a morning flight I preferred. Didn't have any issues with that. So it looks like I was on the right track. But unfortunately, this has nothing to do with the Go Wild Pass. I actually missed the flight due to one being a little bit late on my end. I also missed communicating Frontier. You can see here's my plane. You can see here's even the gate right here too. And it shows that basically they changed the time to like a 20 minute past my departure time. So it means I had extra time. I realized that for some reason Frontier decided to just screw me. And so I missed my flight, meaning that they basically said to me, hey, check the time on your ticket. And that's the time you depart rather than what's on the gate. So either way, it was a fail there. So because of that, I couldn't book a return flight, or I didn't go on my trip. So for this experiment, it's really nothing to say, but I did book it and it was available for I believe a 1-day departure. So obviously that's going to be available for the Go Wild Pass. Overall, well, customer service Frontier isn't the best, and we'll just leave it at that for that situation. My second real flight situation actually applies to the Go Wild Pass, because guess what? It was a last-minute flight from Atlanta to Tampa. And what happened? Well, first flight was actually pretty fine. I actually, like I said, flew on the weekday. I believe it was a Thursday from Atlanta to Tampa. Time was fine. As a remote worker, I don't mind a late afternoon flight, and it worked out perfectly. It was actually a smooth flight. I got there on time. I had no issue. Of course, once again, I need to fly back home to Atlanta from Tampa, and here comes the problem once again. It may not be a New York situation, but the fact that I need to get home and I want to fly either Saturday or Sunday, and as you can see here on Saturday, yeah, not available. Bummer. And then I, tried, let's say Sunday. Not available. So in the end, doing the 1-day departure, even for a smaller airport like Tampa, it failed, and it's starting to see a trend here that you cannot really use the Go Wild Pass on the weekend, regardless of the destination, because of the cheap fare. Also, thing to note too, I did end up booking a Delta flight back home, which, I'm not gonna lie, I did skip lag, which I will probably not do it anymore, but skip lagging is basically where you buy a discounted flight and you basically get off at the connection part of the flight. So Don't recommend, but I did it just for one try, and I probably won't do it ever again. And I had a flight in Denver outdoor, as I mentioned. I showed clips in my past videos, and because of those two experiences from Tampa, New York, I actually decided not to even try to book. And that's because I couldn't trust it, even though my itinerary for Denver really was actually to get there on Friday, which my ticket is there, and actually leave on, I believe, Sunday morning. So with that being said, I felt like I could take a chance with the one leg on Friday, which probably would have worked out, but on Sunday, more than likely it wouldn't have worked out. So because of my prior experiences, I did not try Denver out, and because of that, I actually just bought it out of pocket, which ended up being still very cheap, but still you want to use the Go Wild Pass to your advantage, and I couldn't. So the situation, this was just a mistrust on my end. It really shows you where I'm leaning towards if this is really worth the money for Frontier Airlines. So my overall and final impressions of using this pass during the summer and fall for 2023 for Frontier Airlines and the Go Wild Pass, well, it's not exactly looking out to be great. It's, we'll see how it is, as I still have another 6 months left till April to decide if it really is worth the $499. I will say contributing factors why maybe it didn't work out. Well, summer is very, very, very crowded and highly anticipated, and also blackout days might have attributed to that as well. So that's the thing to consider. Maybe even as the winter and spring months come over, maybe it becomes easier to travel, but we will see. So that's one thing I highly anticipate. Another reason to consider using this pass going forward is because I have status now with Frontier Airlines where I can get free check-ins, free carry-ons, free priority seating, free check-in your seats, all that for free. So it's definitely a way to try to consider using Frontier Airlines more, even though it is very susceptible that I may not get a return flight back from wherever I'm traveling with this pass. And the elevated status for Frontier Airlines does expire next year in 2024, so I have a lot more time to experiment with the airlines and the Go Wild Pass. With that being said, I will make a final video on this when my pass does expire in April 2024 and let everyone know if it really is worth the $500 that I spent for Frontier Airlines. If you got to the end of the video, I appreciate everyone. Thank you for watching, and make sure to slap that like button, subscribe, share going forward. And as I say in all my videos, life is short, travel more, everyone. And if you like Frontier Airlines and you want to see my status match video, make sure to click the link right there. Or if you like airlines in general, here are some good credit cards to consider for airlines right there as well. Like I said, everyone, have a good day, and we'll talk again soon.